All right, welcome back everybody. Next up is Ian Harris from Libero Copper. I think they're focusing now on Colombia copper porphyry. Take it away. You can just choose that.
Okay, is it going to show up there too? There we go. Well, thanks everybody for the opportunity to present Libero Copper to you. It's really, this presentation is focused on the value that we're unlocking in the copper space. Obviously, lots of forward-looking statements within the presentation, so everybody should do their own due diligence. I joined the company in January of 2021, and at that time there was a very unique opportunity where we're seeing, on the horizon, a extreme increase in the demand required in copper, a lack of supply, but an overall not the valuations within projects within the space. So we had an excellent opportunity to acquire some additional projects and consolidate, and we now have 3 significant projects all within the Americas, within very safe jurisdictions. The idea was to have a portfolio of projects with the potential to become future mines. When you look at copper, 90% of the world's production comes from open pit copper porphyry mines. So that's obviously geologically very important, but it also implies an important size and scale component. So you need to have projects that have the ability to be the size and scale that would be attractive to become future mines into the future of some of the biggest mine builders in the world. And I'd really like to show how taking that vision on how to unlock value and applying it and showing it at the project we have within Mocoa in Colombia. It's obviously also one of our most advanced projects, and it is currently drilling. So as background, it's a project that was last drilled by B2 Gold in 2012. It already contains a significant resource at 630 million tons at a 0.45 equivalent copper. Contains 2 million tons of copper, and it contains about 510 million pounds of moly. And I like that number because it helps put it into context, because world production of moly is about 600 million pounds. So if that deposit was produced over 20 years, that's 5% of the world's moly within this project. It's one of the largest untapped moly deposits in the world, and it's already a significant sized copper project. And one of the big reasons I came to Libero was specifically for this project. I previously was Senior Vice President and Country Manager of Corriente Resources, where I took the Mirador project all the way through feasibility. It was sold for $690 million and stayed on one board as a part of the sales agreement 1 year and started the construction of that project. That project went on to be the first large-scale mining operation and the first open pit metal mine in the country. It's in the exact same Jurassic porphyry belt as the Mocoa project. So the geology does not respect boundaries of countries. So that same Jurassic porphyry belt that's produced Fruta del Norte, Mirador, Mirador Norte, Pananza, San Carlos, and Warintza continues into Colombia. And based on that experience within Ecuador, and actually taking a project and actually having to restart it after its suspension of all mining in the country, a new mining law, presidential elections, what took that project forward was having extreme strength on the ground with the local communities that could continue to create political will. And understanding and having a commitment by every single one of the employees to a very simple value system and a system to operate. So it sounds almost a little cute saying our operating philosophy is being a good neighbor, but it is so empowering to each one of the individual employees. Before we even started our first drill hole, we were producing our uniforms locally. We had produced the first steel toe boots ever made within Putumayo with a local shoemaker, working collaboratively with the local community. Helping build together the access roads with the local community because both of us needed them, working on a weekly radio show. and we talked and we listened and we listened and we listened. So Mocoa is about 50,000 people, and before the first drill hole, almost 5,000 individuals we had conversations with, including a weekly radio show. We've done over 31 to date, and a very active social media to be very transparent in what we were doing, describing and explaining what we were planning to do to get feedback and creating an environment of co-create. And so that work went very well, and we started our geophysics programs in October, and we started drilling on the project in March. So creating that strength locally, 92% of the employment is local, including geologists, project engineers, environmental engineers, et cetera, creates reputation nationally, brings in some strong alliances, some of the best known universities, working with the UN on the Pacto Global as one of the signatories to that pact for our ESG program, continues to drive political will over the extended period of time. It already exists in Colombia. It has a robust mining industry. It has a president who says, I want to be the third largest producer of copper in Latin America, but obviously these projects require that sustainability over an extended period of time, and this is our strength of being able to carry this project forward. So why so much work? Why would we put all this work into this project? And it's very simple for me as CEO of the company of why it works. This is to the right is the project is Solaris' Warintza. And Solaris' Warintza just came out about a month ago with their resource estimate. And you can tell if you look at the grades using the exact same cutoffs, exact same metal prices for our resource, you can tell at a 0.3, they're at a 0.52 equivalent copper, and we're at a 0.5, so almost identical grade. We look at their starter pit at a 0.6 cutoff, 0.77 versus a 0.79, almost identical grade. The difference is both of those resources, ours is about 30% smaller, a third of the size. But the significant difference between these two projects is the Mocoa project is worth $10 per ton of copper in the ground, and they're worth $163 per ton of copper in the ground. That's a 15-time increase. And in terms of market cap, which obviously includes the size of their project, that's a 40-time difference. So we know that if we can get this project moving and move it forward sustainably as we're doing and now starting to drill and continue to drill and just demonstrate the project is moving forward and create a significant, not percentages, but multiples of the value that we have today. And if we can get to the same size and scale, we're looking at a 40x. So we know that we can create massive value for our shareholders, focusing on sustainably advancing this project. And then if we look at the ability to get the size, so if we need to get 3 times bigger, is the potential. So on our very first drill hole, we wanted to confirm a couple things. We wanted to confirm some of the historical drilling. We wanted to confirm where we saw an opportunity to increase the grade on the resource, but also to say, is this a size and scale project? How much copper has been pumped into the system? And our very first hole, 1,200 meters, the entire hole was 0.58. That's higher grade than our entire resource in the entire hole, and including some incredible intercepts, including almost 400 meters at over 1% equivalent copper. That clearly demonstrates this is one of the better projects on the planet. In the last 12 months, this would have been the 10th best hole in the world in copper, only looking at copper. Okay? And this is our first hole. So we know that we can continually to demonstrate this quality of results within our project. The other 9 other holes that were better, 5 of them are from Filo del Sol. I believe today they have a $2 billion market cap. Or instance, Solaris was 3 of them, $1.2 billion market cap. MCS of Arrow, $1 billion market cap. So I know that we're on the right path to be able to create massive value creation for our shareholders. And then the last, size and scale. In October, we did geophysics. We did the reinterpretation. We did the interpretation of that geophysics, combined it with our geochemistry. You can see the small circle in black. That is where our existing drilling is today. And the overall footprint potential is that black dotted line, including an additional 9 porphyry centers within just the area of the projects. So we can clearly demonstrate without a doubt that we could easily get this project that is open to the north, to the south, to the east to the west and depth. It is open in all directions. There's a clear pathway to get this project over 1 billion tons. So in summary, we're starting from an excellent starting point with an excellent resource. We do not have to go out and discover this deposit. It is already there. We just have to expand it and demonstrate to the world that it can become a future mine. It's one of the world's largest undeveloped moly deposits in the world, clear pathway to expand it, and the opportunity to increase the grade on the project. Corporatively, then you say, do you have the team? Do you have the ability? I explained my previous work that I previously had at Mirador, taking that project through and to the start of construction and going on to be the first large-scale mining operation in the history of Ecuador. Also on the board with me, Ernie Mast. He was CEO of Inmet's Cobre Panama. He did the exact same thing, getting all the way to the start of construction to be the first large-scale mining operation in the history of Panama when First Quantum went on to build it. Rob Pease discovered and built Mount Milligan in British Columbia, but lots and lots of strength of not just doing exploration, but understanding what it takes to take these large-scale projects all the way through to the finish line. So in summary, we're in the right commodity. I think everybody here, they're here today because they understand the potential that copper is going to be seeing over the near term, whether it's for energy conversion or whether just for the electrification of the world's economies. We're in great jurisdictions. We're in British Columbia, in Colombia, and in Argentina. We have absolutely amazing geology. We have the experience building some of the biggest mines in the world and getting them to the start of construction. We're well financed. We have a great partner with Anglo-Asian, which is a London-listed mine producer. And we have the right mentality. Thank you.
Thanks, Ian. Any questions from the audience?
Yes, Sean.
Sean.
On structure, you mentioned Anglo is a partner. How much do they own?
Anglo-Asian has 19.8%, plus or minus a percent, of the company right now, and they came in all of that in the last private placement.
And it's just no JVs or anything with the other projects?
There is an agreement, a shareholder agreement. They actually have shown a desire that they want to maintain their 20% and always have the ability to maintain their 20%, but it was a part of our last private placement.
Okay. I got one tricky question for you. I believe the Mako deposit is covered by a protected area, or at least partly. How would that impact possible future mining scenario?
So my answer to this is while, and actually today it actually was put into effect, there are clear methods of extracting a forestry reserve for exploration and also for exploitation. But I think the biggest and most important component for a project in South America is the generation of political will. If there is a will, there is a way. And so that is actually more important to me is making and maintaining a positive attitude around the project, starting locally, working nationally, because if everybody wants a project to move forward, a project will move forward. And there is plenty of work to continue to do. That area is actually to the west of the deposit, and you saw the majority is actually to the south and to the east. We have plenty to work to do as we continue to create that positive will towards the project.
Okay, thanks. And what about metallurgy? Have you done any testing?
Metallurgy was done in the 80s. It showed very good recoveries for both copper and for moly. We're going to be redoing the metallurgy with modern test work. And it is a good question, but I don't know if you saw it, but even the grades between Warrensis Solaris, which is considered a very high moly deposit, Mako is twice as high. Right? So it's normally an issue of you're pulling copper away when you're pulling a moly. And in this case, I think we can get very good recoveries on both metals.
Okay. No further questions? All right. Thanks, Ian.
Thank you.